about the NBA Finals. Right now, there's a game going on. It is in the third quarter na ang Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. Ang score, let me just check the score. 81 Indiana Pacers. Ang Thunder is 79. And right now, let's go to Attorney Jingo Quijano para ato ning tukion, ato ning i-dissect ang duwa karong adlaw sa NBA Finals. Maayong bungkag nimbo diha, Attorney.
Morning, Jig. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. Sa kanimo sa diha, Attorney, kaning before we talk about the NBA Finals ba, I was just talking to ato ang amigo nga si Nimrod Quinones, atong amigo nga si Leo Malagar about kaning Independence Day, about nationalism. Ikaw kaning Attorney Jingo Quijano, para unsa man gyud ning nationalism with all of the developments that's going on with the world today, should we be more nationalistic more than ever, or should we tone it down just a little bit? With all of these different other forces like individualism, like tribalism, because of the internet, right? We're all clumped into different tribes. And how about all of our problems are becoming global in nature, like the pandemic, like climate change, like AI and the internet. Murag dili nam ta makalikay nga kaning we are becoming more connected as not just as a nation but as a species. So akong pangutana nimo ani, what is nationalism for? And since we're celebrating Independence Day today, ang ato ang nationalistic pride murag taas kayo. So should we tone it down a little bit, or should we even up it a notch? We need to be more nationalistic more than ever in 2025. Your thoughts, Attorney Jingo Quijano, sir. Go ahead.
Nationalism, Jig, is based on our shared identity, no? And remember it comes naturally because what I choice as a tanga race na born into our country, right? We did not choose to be Filipino in the same way that we did not choose our parents.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's concept na siya. It comes naturally to us. You're born into a family. You're born into a nation. Of course, you love your country because naman tayo common denominator. But I agree with you nga today, imo na siya i-match with globalization because extreme nationalism ang good has led like in history, like ang Germany, no? It led to wars, no? They had the belief in the superior Aryan race. Of course, kana ang concepts are di na pwede karon, no? Because we rely more on each other in terms of trade. We exchange ideas, technology. Filipinos are migrating abroad. In fact, there's a funny thing that I read somewhere, Jig, nga the Filipinos na kuno are the new Vikings.
Vikings?
Yeah, because for every foreign ship kuno, Jig, there's a Filipino there. Ha? Ning putot ba ng Vikings, Jig? Ning putot ang Vikings.
Oh, kanang sakto ginayam gisultihin noon kada barko na ay Filipino. In fact, the last time I checked, there are 10 million Filipinos overseas right now, and one ilabot sa mga Filipino nga kaning na naturalized citizens na sa Europe, sa America, sa Middle East, sa Hong Kong. So I'm sure I can imagine there should be tens of millions of Filipinos already that have made their homes outside of their home country. So akong pangutana siguro sunod ani, attorney, is, are they being less nationalistic? Are you being less of a patriot if you decide to leave your homeland and make your living elsewhere? Are they less nationalistic? Would you say that?
No, because you can be here and be a burden to society. No, you can live in the Philippines all your life. Sige lang kagpabadlong. I don't know how that helps your country, but you can be working abroad. In fact, we call our OFWs our modern heroes. So it doesn't matter where you are. I think nationality is more of a concept of national identity. So you can be anywhere, and you can still love your country, Jay.
So you can still be nationalistic even though you're in another country. So, but kanang people who decide to stay in their country, are they more nationalist? For example, let's just create a scenario nga parehari sila ka
Okay.
productive, parehari sila ka badlungon, parehari sila ka kaning buutan, or parehari sila ka corrupt. If you're let's just say badlungon. Badlungon lang, let's just hisgot ng badlungon ganiha nga kung lain nga nasod kung badlungon nagyapon ka diri sa Pilipinas, may pagmularga na lang ka. So kinsa ba yung mas nationalistic, ang badlungon nga nagpabilin sa Pilipinas, masigna siya oportunidad nga mularga, or ang badlungon nga tuwa na sa ubang lugar pero nagpabadlong dito na pod? Asa may mas nationalistic
Well,
niya na?
neither. Kaya silang to, badlungon man, Jay.
I know, but it is in degrees, right? So zero na silang doha.
Zero na sila.
Okay.
Okay. Because you know why? There are many reasons why people are left here.
Okay.
Like, need lang kaganahan sa laing nga nasod. I mean, I know a lot of our friends nga have the opportunity to migrate, but their family is there, but they don't want to. Okay. According to them, it's the weather or it's the employment opportunity. Sila helper dito. No, the different reasons why people stay.
Okay.
So it comes to a matter of preference, or maybe a matter of personal choice or comfort. So nothing to do with nationalism for me, Jig. Pareho silang duha badlungon.
Nya
Zero silang duha, Jig.
kita karon Attorney Jingo Quijano sir nga sige taghisgot og nationalism and all of that stuff niya atong gi-cover kay NBA Finals nga kaning naa sa Amerika nga duwa. Are we being less nationalistic, or that's not the issue here?
Yeah, apples to oranges, Jig.
Okay.
The topic is sportsman.
Okay.
So sports is universal.
Okay.
Everybody loves sports.
Okay. So karon in the third quarter, nahuman na bago ilgod nahuman. Ang Thunder ni overtake na sa Indiana Pacers, 89 Thunder ug 84 Indiana Pacers. So I think it's important before we talk about this particular game, Attorney, is to kind of summarize what happened in the last two games, di ba? Ang first game, gi-shock man to sa Indiana Pacers ang Oklahoma City Thunder by beating them in the last 8 seconds of the ball game, right? Nga nakasud si Tyrese Halliburton og mid-range jumper to overtake the Oklahoma City Thunder by a single point, right? 2-point shot naman to, di ba?
Right.
Onya pag second game gikulata ni ang ang Indiana Pacers sa Oklahoma City Thunder, murag gilubong nila, murag double digit win man to nila sa Oklahoma City Thunder, right? So na split ang game sa home court sa Oklahoma City Thunder, which usually if you're a visiting team like the Indiana Pacers, that's good enough, right? To be able to steal one game from your opponent, right? So game 3, what are your thoughts on game 3, Attorney Jingo Quijano, sir? Go ahead.
Remember, Jig, nga sa first two games the OKC Thunder outplayed the Pacers for, let's say, 95% of the time. Remember, the Pacers just won it at the last minute sa first game. So if you add the two games, you will see that the OKC Thunder are very dominant over the Pacers, no? So, but you are correct to your point. At least naka-steal sila sa one game, and it's an advantage to them. And then I think I heard you earlier ningon ka nga ang statistics show that the team who wins game 3,
yes, correct,
wins 80% of the series.
Yeah.
So I think the very pivotal game ni. And as you said nga, I've been following it since a few minutes ago nga. It's a very close game, Jig, no? I think Halliburton erupted for pila ka points in the third quarter. And then apas na pud ang Thunder nga. Kani importante kay ni si Halliburton, Jig. Even the first two games, mailhan nimo ang iyahang. They lost, lubong kay sila sa second game because Halliburton scored only 5 points in the first 30 minutes. And he came alive in the fourth quarter na. So Halliburton is the engine that runs this Pacers machine, Jig. So I see he's doing well now. I think he has 19 points. So it's looking good for my team, Jig. Ha? Kay Pacers bi ako, ikaw bi ay OKC.
Nag-ingon sila sakto ka kaning attorney Jingo Quijano sir nga ang the engine that runs in the Indiana Pacers is supposedly Tyrese Halliburton, right? But ang iyang average score sa NBA Finals has only been 15 points, right? In the meantime, ang iyang contemporary, ang iyang ka-level nga player sa Picas, si Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, murag sobra sa 30 puntos ang iyang average in the first two NBA Finals games. So everybody's expecting Tyrese to step up, kuno, diba? To step up. You know, this is your chance to become a real superstar because everybody is still kaning doubting. Everybody's still on the fence, underestimating mura og overrated kuno kay si Tyrese Halliburton kay iyang puntos kaning gamay ra gyud kay ba dili gyud siya mo step up to the position of as the star of their team. In fact, so usahay si Shaka mas dako pagpuntos ni Halliburton at the end of the game, right?
Yes, that's correct.
People are I hear a lot of pundits saying you know, it is Tyrese Halliburton's a time to shine, right? Pero akong pangutana ani, isn't it the whole point of the Indiana Pacers? That's why they made it this far. Is that Tyrese Halliburton, ang iyang game, dili gud siya kaning mamuntos og maayo. Ang iyang style is to operate in the crucial moments of the ball game. I kind of liken Tyrese Halliburton's not in the way that he plays but in the way that he produces. Kanap to si Tim Duncan. Kato si Tim Duncan, dili man to mamuntos yun og maayo, di ba? Pero kung crucial na, dito na mo matter. I think si Tim Duncan probably averaged less than 20 points in his career, right? Per ball game. So I can imagine si Tyrese Halliburton is that kind of player. But if you ask him to do something that he's not, maybe he won't be as effective. Because the defense will now be focused on him all the time, right? Instead of kaning i-spread out. Kaning si Andrew Nembhard, grabe man kini siya kahingigo sa 3 points. Si Miles Turner, I think scored 2 3-point shots. Aaron Naismith, grabe kini sila ka lisod bantayan ba? So kung si Tyrese imuha na hinung patason ang iyahang shot attempts, then the defense will be kaning focusing on him at the end game, which he's most effective. What are your thoughts on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, Jig. Tyrese Halliburton is a different kind of point guard. I would liken him. You liken him to Tim Duncan
in terms of production.
Yeah. I would liken him more like a Steve Nash type of player. No, very fast, very quick, and he likes to get his teammates involved. Dili ni siya the type of point guard nga heavy on the scoring side. No, but at least, but he has to contribute his share. Meaning, dili mahimo nga sige lang ka o pasa. Imong 15 points are very much needed. This is the NBA Finals. You have to step up. People are calling you overrated. Probably because he got a spot on the US Olympic team, no? And then they're asking, they're saying there are more people who are worthy of that, but he has proven time and again sa pilad good ni ka series ilang gipildi. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks, they beat the Cavaliers who had the best record in the East, and then they defeated the Knicks. So this guy is something else, huh? Yeah, he's a big shot maker and gets his teammates involved. That's more of how he plays.
Mo lagi. So for you to use points as the only measure of a player stepping up, I think is counterproductive to the game plan. I think they call him Slick Rick, si Rick Carlisle, right? Because murag, in the last few seconds, murag, he comes up with a play that wins the game, right? So doesn't that
Uh-huh.
defeat the purpose of what might be the strategy kung imong i-push og may si Tyrese Haliburton sa usa ka lugar nga might be counterproductive to the strategy, or maybe even counterproductive to who he is as a player. Maybe he will become less effective.
I partially agree, Jake, but sometimes Magod, you have to contribute when others are slacking. Like katong sa second game, they were missing shots, no. So asa ka kinahanglan nun, he should step up, and he is capable of doing it. And now gali, I think I'm looking at the stats. He's been very aggressive offensively, ha. He has taken 6 3-point attempts, no, and made 3. So and they are just 2 points behind. Yeah. Wa may laing ng namuntos, there are only 3 of them in double figures, Jig, no. It's Siakam, as you said, and si Mathurin is coming off the bench, but the others are not scoring well. Si Nesmith only has 4. Nemhard ng ilahang 3-point specialist only has 4. So very dynamic. He's a very dynamic player. So he has to step up in certain areas of the game where his teammates have fallen off.
So katubang what we saw ba in the first 2 games, game 1 and game 2. Diba? Game 1, it was a surprise, right? In fact, the Oklahoma City Thunder were leading most of the game, and then they just lost in the last 5 minutes. Game 2, lubong gito sila. They were leading end to end, right? And now here we are on game 3. My belief has always been that this is a very lopsided series. I really feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder is in a different level of NBA talent. I think mura og ang Indiana Pacers, although they're good, but I don't think they have reached that level of talent and cohesion that the Oklahoma City Thunder has arrived. Right, Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, were also the number 1 NBA team in the West in terms of record in last year, right? In last year's season, right? And see, SGA also was a first runner-up. I think first runner-up to was it the year of Jokic ba to? Or somebody else who won the MVP, right?
Yes,
Second just MVP conversation, right? So kani siyang Oklahoma City Thunder murag lahi na gyud sila nga level of NBA kaning talent. Kaning Indiana Pacers, they surprised. They're actually in a way overachieving because they won by the skin of their teeth, right? In most of the series. So I still maintain nga because, like you said, 95% of the time the Oklahoma City Thunder actually led in both those 2 ball games.
2 games.
2 games. Onya paghuman gilubong nila in the second game. Kani siya, the Oklahoma City Thunder looks like they have momentum leading to game 3. I would even say nga dili na ni makadaog ang Indiana Pacers in the remaining games. What are your thoughts on the disparity ba of in the talent level of the OKC and the Pacers?
Yeah, sakto gid imong the term that you used is overachievers gid ni sila ang Pacers, no. And then if you look at I've been hearing a lot of criticism. Okay, they defeated the Milwaukee Bucks without a healthy Dame Lillard. Okay, and they said the Cavaliers were banged up, no, and then they had injuries. They were not healthy, no. But the Knicks were healthy, Jake. And the Knicks was a very formidable team. That you had Cat, and then you had Brunson. So I agree ko nimo nga talent level there is a disparity, but because of their team spirit and their ability to step up, naa sila if boxing pa ni they have a puncher's chance, Jig. If ang OKC will commit a mistake, they will pounce on it. Wala na itabo bitaw sa first game, di ba? SGA missed fade away na ihabya ng that's his spot. That's his shot, no? So now I think it's tie now, tie. Delikado kay ni if you don't put them away, no?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
if you let them hang around, they're just hanging around, Jig.
Mo gyud.
Delikado kayo na sila. So that's their character.
Mo gyud. That's what I mean. Mo na character sa team. So why would you get away from who you have become? Kay mura mo kaning NBA, I know it's what they say is a game of adjustments, right? Especially kung finals, right? Mo adjust ka pero kanang adjustment manggod, kanang minuscule lang kay ng adjustment, kanang ginagmay lang kay na ba? You cannot go out of character. Kay kung mo out of character ka, the likelihood of you making a mistake becomes higher.
Oh yeah. Ang kaning character manggod aning Pacers is just di magud ni sila, none of them are considered very potent offensive weapons, Jig. Tanaw ng mga average ilang first five, di pareha na SGA. SGA is the scoring leader in the NBA.
Correct, yeah.
Aside from being the MVP. So, but I will pose a question to you, okay? Ako'y observation yan. Some people, I mean, the other sports analysts, I always watch their podcasts. They're saying now ang team game mo na for this year at least, or na hopefully it's a trend, no. Nangatangtang tong mga superstar centered teams like silang LeBron and Luka, no? Silang Curry at silang Durant, no? Kani silang ning lusot karon. Kani OKC, yes, SGA is leading the way, but they have a very well-balanced offense, and they play a very good team defense. Hasta pud ni ang Pacers. So basketball is a team game, as you said. So I don't know if it's a trend, but they're saying we are going back to the old school ng you don't have to have kanang three sana ilahang trio, kanang mga big three. Or a big two. As long as you have a good coach and dynamic offense and defense, you can actually perform well in the NBA now.
Mo man ang murag philosophy siguro ni Popovich, di ba? The coach of the San Antonio Spurs nga murag just do the basics right. In fact, they called Tim Duncan good old fundamental, di ba? Nga he just does the fundamentals right. He was not flashy. He didn't do what superstars usually do. So mura siyang silent operator siya. But of course, NBA is not just a sport. It's also a business, right? So I think ang kanang superstar murag pangitaon yun na sa mga tao, because you can't go to a game and then wala kay murag you're not a fan of a particular player. Murag nebulous man kay nang I like the way that they play. What does that mean, right? I mean, di ba, mangita jud kag personality, because I think we're in a more personality-driven world karon nga. You don't like concepts. You don't like particular brands. You need to see a particular person or look for a particular person. So whether Tyrese Halliburton likes it or not, he is the superstar of the Indiana Pacers, right?
The star.
The star. Whether he likes it or not, whether he plays it or not, whether he lives up to the billing or not, it's up to him. But he is the star, whether he likes it or not.
Kana Jig, nanay debate online, Jig. Is Tyrese a star or a superstar? What do you think?
A star or a superstar? Tyrese Halliburton just made a 3-point shot. So 101 Indiana Pacers, Oklahoma City Thunder 98. So labaw
Yes,
na
go Pacers.
3 points ang Indiana Pacers with 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the ball game. I think Tyrese Halliburton, I think a star manggod has to have a championship.
Okay.
Has to have a championship. So
a superstar.
A superstar has to have a championship, right? So Halliburton is not yet a superstar. He's a shining star, a shooting star, I should say. But he's not yet a superstar. He can't be in the levels of LeBron James or Giannis or Jokic or Anthony Davis. Kung wala pa siya ring or crown, right? But if he does, then I would imagine him becoming a real star.
Agree ko rin mo kay naman ko to there was I saw a video on TikTok ba to or YouTube nga si Dwayne Wade was saying after that big shot he made in game 1 in the NBA finals and Dwayne Wade was saying how can you not call him a superstar? But to your point I agree kanang there are tiers magudani, no? There are tiers to this, no?
Correct.
Pagka sa wa bagay kay championship like you said, Jokic has won. Giannis has won. Barang isa. But you have to have the hardware. No? Aside from the reaching the NBA finals. Because if you fail, then you're still second place. So,
Correct. And also part of that, I think, because we're talking about the word star, like we've already defined it, right? I think kanang star, I think part of that is also your riz, right? You have to have charisma also, di ba? Di ba?
the gravitas.
Oh.
The way you carry yourself.
Correct.
Yung dating.
Yeah.
Ang dating. Oh.
For example, I'll give you two examples. Si Ja Morant, si Allen Iverson. Dili man wa man sila championship, di ba? I think the Philadelphia 76ers with Mutombo and Iverson kaning made it to the NBA Finals against the Lakers, but they won game 1 and they were swept, right? With Shaq and Kobe. Si Ja Morant has never won a championship, right? But they have the charisma. They are like people who people go to watch the games, right? Murag attraction sila ba? That can be a definition of a star to a certain extent.
Yeah, because and kanang imong giingon, wa man gud kayo big stars ani nga series. That's why murag ubos kuno kayo ang
ratings nila.
Ratings nila online and attendance, but you know kana manggong basketball like boxing ba is a superstar driven sport in terms of commercial value ba. Like mo seg ko gamay sa boxing.
Correct, yeah.
You can have a fight here, an excellent fight between two unknown fighters, but mas guwapo ilang duwa, but if nobody knows them, nobody will watch. But on the other hand, you can have a big fight like Manny Pacquiao coming up in July. He's 46, but you know, he's not as good anymore. Pero nganong dako man kayo o media coverage. So, it's a superstar-driven sport, kaning boxing. Most of ning NBA, kanang imong giingon nga people watch kay ngita sila big names, no? Yung mo tanaw sila like the casual NBA fan, kita kay hardcore man ta, the casual NBA fan would say, kisay nagduwa ron nga Pacers nga, ha? Pacers? Kisa may star ana, Haliburton nga, ha? Haliburton? So,
kinsa man na siya?
They will not, they will not even turn on, they will not even glance at the screen. Tanawang duwa, they will not do that. But you say, kisang duwa ron, nga sila nga, si LeBron James, kay kailaman ng the casual fan.
Correct, yeah.
Like, si Warriors, si Curry, hala, patanawa ko ko. See? Wala siya.
So would you imagine that charisma is also part of the description of what a star is? You have to have charisma. Katong si Tim Duncan, for example, pila mo to championships ang Spurs, di ba? 5 ba to?
They had
5.
Tim Duncan had 5 titles.
5 to under Tim Duncan, right? So that's a lot of championships, right? Similar to Kobe Bryant, also has 5, right? 5 rings. So but si Tim Duncan, moro siya hilom ra nga star, di ba? Dili his star is not, as I would say, as shiny, if you will, as a Kobe Bryant in terms of attraction. Kung wala gyud makalupig sa attraction ni Kobe Bryant. In fact, during his last season in the Lakers, he was playing his goodbye games, right? And all of the games, although they didn't matter anymore, were full houses because of the fact nga he's a star, right? So lahi gud na ang ability to draw people. Ang dinuwaan ni Tyrese Haliburton, do you think does he have charisma? Kanang charisma mo is very nebulous, right? Di ko maka-define yana. Pero what does it mean to have a charisma? Kaya akong feeling nga si Tyrese, does he or does he have it?
I think he's slowly coming into it, Jake. Like, remember katong he gave the choke signs sa New York.
Yeah.
Because as you said, may kag nebulous. Correct, because you will be defined by acts that you do
Yeah.
during the process.
Yeah.
In your as you play through your career, like mo balik tani Tim Duncan, he was never controversial, no?
Mm.
He mo siyang sikhon, he would not gonna make a big fuss out of it.
Mm.
And then di siya magtingog. Yeah, katong I saw the documentary ni Parker ba?
Mm.
Ni kaniyang teammate ba? Si kaning itong French guy, the point guard nila.
Tony Parker, yeah.
Yeah. Si Tim Duncan did not talk to him for the first season. Wag sa tagda ba? Yeah, lang itong personality ba? He was not very talkative. He kept to himself and just played ball. So, yeah, depende yun na, depende. But I think Tyrese is slowly coming into his own, yeah. Especially nga kaniyang knack for knocking the big shot at the last second, literally.
No, labaw na kayo labay na kayo ang Indiana Pacers. 7 points ng labaw nila. 107 Indiana Pacers, Thunder 100 with 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
Jake? What happened? Kisa may namuntos.
Well, the last 2 points was scored by Toppin, and si Nemhard scored the previous, and Miles Turner scored the third to the last bunch of points. So ni labaw nagmayo ang Indiana Pacers, but there's still a lot of time, as you may know, in especially with the NBA now nga sayo na lang yung kayo i-overtake ang lead, right?
You can erase a 20-point lead in like 2 minutes.
Correct. Or the Thunder might return the favor and surprise us all, but it's looking good for the Indiana Pacers. 3:34 remaining, 107 Pacers, and the Thunder 100. Naghiskot man ka og Pacquiao ba? Kaganiha ba? Maybe we can talk about that for just a little bit, okay? Kano sa maning fight ni Pacquiao at 46 years old na kinsa man ni iyang kaaway kay nag-time out naman ang Pacers. Go ahead.
Pacquiao's fight is next month, second week of July, Masyado Jake, and he's gonna be fighting Mario Barrios.
Kinsa man ni siya?
He is a WBC champion, so the criticism now aning duwa is why is Manny automatically getting a title shot? Nga he's been inactive. He's been inactive for 3 years. So ngano man nga naghan man kaayon tang rank nga di man makaget og title shot.
But so, he's been part of a full contact sport, which is politics. Bludgeoned by politics for a few years, right? So does that count now?
He's been fighting with Lalay Jig. Sige like layog ni Lalay, napildi man siya. So muna siya Jig nga but they justify it nga he's a superstar sa atong topic ba.
Yeah.
Muna pa ding star og superstar. So muna ingon nga boxing is often referred to as the red light district of sports. Kay
what does that mean?
Sorambawa. Lagi kayo kano nga taon dito sa championship nga wa man kanila siya duwa-duwa.
Pero kinsa man niyang kaaway? Is this a good matchup? Pacquiao has been known to make good matchups, right? Kading ang pasabot nako is entertaining yung duwa ba? Will this be at a minimum an entertaining match, or ano ani mo murag kulatahon ni si Lolo Pacquiao ani?
I think maluoy ko ani Pacquiao ani Jig kay I don't think at 46 he still has it. Barrios is kabaw kay ko why they chose Barrios, no? Barrios is hinay niya likes to move forward. And Manny always looks good against ani nga fighters. Muna na siya like a smaller version of Margarito, diba Jig?
Wow, okay.
He's heavy on the front foot, always moving forward. Hinay og hand speed. So he will be there all night for Pacquiao. He's right in front of Pacquiao. Iyahari ng makulata if the question is, can he pull the trigger? Anya, makaagwanta ba si Barrios sa iyahang kumo? And when Barrios starts firing back, can Manny also agwanta da kulata kay this guy is a brawler, man.
Si pinakuan gid Margarito
Margarito
gid siya.
O niya kanang
So unsa man siya bag-o rin siya nga champion or dugay na siya na champion?
no, he defeated gali Ugas, your Dennis Ugas katong
Okay.
the one who beat Pacquiao. Oh. So but he lost to Keith Thurman nga gipildi pod ni Pacquiao. So, but I'm not gonna say he's a superstar, Jig. Balik sa tangkuan. But he's if I were Pacquiao, if I were to fight any of the champions, kanigid ako ang pilion kay perfect na ko na siyang foe for Pacquiao style. But at 46, boxing is a young man's game. Lisod-lisod niya. Ang kanipag yun, it's okay if he's 46, Jig, but he's active. But he's not active naman. Dito naman sa politika, in the different ring. In the political ring naman siya. So,
not necessarily less bloody, but in a different ring, di ba?
Yeah, di ba kung na-switch siya, you can just turn on and off. No, naman na yung muscle memory. Sometimes you have to be actively doing it to be always good at it.
Di ba bago ram ni nakadaog o nahatagan og kaning Hall of Fame si Pacquiao? Bago rin ito, di ba? A few days ago lang, right?
Yes. Yeah. Wala to kay lakon sa iyang speech gali.
You were able to watch it. So what's this award kaning Hall of Fame? Can you explain to our listeners something award? Ang score karon 110 Indiana Pacers, 102 Thunder with 2 minutes and 35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Aaron Naismith as a shooting foul, and let's see, this involves 2 free throws. So 102 Thunder, 110 Pacers with 2:35 remaining.
Kisay ning kuan Jig, who
shooting foul si Aaron Naismith. So somebody from the Oklahoma City Thunder will shoot a free throw or free throws. So 102 Thunder, 110 Indiana Pacers. So kaning Hall of Fame, unsa ning Hall of Fame? Kinsa may kabatch niya aning awarda?
Wako kabantay ang kabatch, Jig, but usually magud na kana siyang I think this is the IBHOF, International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Mo na man na siya kanang they have a website, and then you have to be eligible for a certain number of years in the active ka, and then mingon ka og it's never a shoe-in for you to be in the Hall of Fame. So it's also nebulous pud na siya ilahang criteria kay na may uban nga like they won just a few belts but ilang Hall of Fame, then napoy uban nga na champion then wala. So it's still relative na siya sa kuan, sa criteria nila is also kanang sometimes specious ba, but of course nobody will question Manny Pacquiao is as a first ballot Hall of Fame. There's no question.
So why kaning do this? He's already in the Hall of Fame. He's already achieved so many things. Won't this just tarnish his legacy as a Hall of Famer and a great boxer? What is this for? Sa panginabuhi niya, nahurot na yung kwarta. Unsa man ni siya? Why fight in the first place?
Yeah, for me, we can think of a million reasons, Jig.
Maybe 10 million pila may prize money ani.
Maybe 10 million reasons, Jig, because if you think about it, what man gyud siya laing motivation for that.
Okay.
He's in politics onya. Naka sa politics pa nan. You don't have you're not a Villar nga naa kay a $1 billion empire, a $1 billion peso empire. You're not wa kay pedigree, you're not kay Utano na kay suon nga politiko, you're not a Marcos, you're not a Duterte. Na dakan ka, I know for a fact na si Manny is dakan ka ing rely niya financially. So, pero ako, I don't mind saying that because like you and me, I never begrudge a man's right to earn an honest living.
Of course.
Yeah, kanang if he's fighting for money, so what? No? Kanang I always fight for a person's right nga nabuhi ka. Go for it. We don't criticize him. Why we criticize him? Nabuhi na siya.
Well,
at least he's earning his money honestly.
But let's say for example, he loses this match. Like won't it tarnish his legacy? By the way, 104 Thunder, 110 Indiana Pacers. Ang nag-free throw si Alex Caruso, he made both, so it has been reduced to a 6-point lead with 2:21 remaining.
This is getting to be interesting, Jig, ha?
Very interesting,
6 points
yeah.
na lang, ha?
6 points na lang, yeah.
Caruso.
Yeah.
Wow.
So kung mapildi si Manny, ani, won't this tarnish his legacy?
Definitely. Kay a loss is a loss. Although, naa siya'y built-in excuse nga, well, I lost, I was already 46. No? Pareha doon na sa basketball nga, LeBron James nga, pildi na pod sila, and then the super LeBron James nga, kuwan nga, tiguwang na magud na si LeBron, but mudaog po si LeBron, nga ba sila nga, ang imiga, tiguwang na na. Kadaog man gyapon. So, kanang, depende how you twist it, no? How you frame it. Kay kani si Pacquiao, he has everything to lose in terms of legacy. Kay mahimo na, if he loses and he continues fighting, mahimo na bitaw kang kuan jig, like a stepping stone. You got that, kanamara kag kanang awayon nako, pildihon nako si kuan para mahimo kong star. No? So I don't want that to happen to him nga mahimo siyang reduce na siyang stepping stone ba, because he's a big name fighter, he's a ring legend, and everybody wants to fight him now because he rakes in the money. No? But mahimo, in terms of legacy, your legacy will definitely suffer.
The score now is 104 Thunder, 110 Indiana Pacers. Grabihas dipinsa sa sa Indiana Pacers. Miles Turner blocked the Chet Holmgren, and then Aaron let me just check. Again, Miles Turner blocked him twice in two consecutive plays. So grabe kang dipinsa sa kuan gyud sa Indiana Pacers. So nakasud si Siakam og 2 points. So it is now 104-112 with 109 remaining in the ball game. Like I said, it's looking good. It's looking good
looking good for your team, Jig.
I know, right? Yes. 112 Indiana Pacers, 104 Thunder. You know, this is actually the same scenario similar scenario that the Indiana Pacers were in when they overtook the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Pila gito labaw sa Indiana OKC in the last 1 minute of the game. Murag medyo pare-pareha man to anisa, murag 5 or 6 points ba to siya, or even bigger. Do you remember?
Yeah, but sa last minute ato, Jig, kuan naman to, very close to, mga 3 points na lang
3 points lang. So marag taas yung milagro ang atong gi-expect ni para ma-overtake pa ni sa Oklahoma City Thunder. So let's see, with 109 remaining in the ball game. 112 Indiana Pacers, Oklahoma City Thunder 104. You're listening to 105.1 TMC's Double J with Jiggy Juice and Jingo Quijano. Back to boxing. You know, this is not just about boxing. This is about all sports. Ang character advantage kuno, what makes an athlete great is also their greatest character defect. Great athletes kuno don't know when to quit, and it becomes a good thing when you're in your heydays, in your younger days. But also, ikatiguang na nila, dili gyapon sila kibaw mo quit. Case in point, Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, when he went back for the second time and played for the Washington Wizards, he was a shell of who he once was, right? So kaning mga tawhana dili gyud ni kibaw mo ingon nga that's enough, that I quit, right? You know, one of my favorite storylines about quitting is actually not an athlete. He's actually a comedian. His name is Jerry Seinfeld. When he was at the peak of his game, when he was offered hundreds of millions of dollars to continue with a season 7, I think, of his series Seinfeld, he quit. He said, no more na. Like, that's it. I'm done. Right. So he knew because he was happy with his body of work. He was already happy with his body of work because he could not imagine making another season of a series because he's already set it all. In other words, so mo na character defects sa mga winners kuno, sa mga greats. They don't know when to quit, right? So do you think Pacquiao should not do this? Is there a part of you that says, you know, like, unsa pa may imong kinanglan, daghan naman kay kagorta, daghan na kay daog. Paghuman ang imuhang karir kaning nanakas Hall of Fame, this and that, niya paghuman ngano man, aside from the financial aspect of it, which is kind of weird because I imagine Manny Pacquiao to be kaning mura og oozing with money from ang gawas ganung kwarta siyang mga dunggan siguro. So ngano man.
Ako torn ko na Jig. My heart says I want to see him kanang kay boxing fan man gud ta, no?
Mhm.
Kanang anytime money fights, can you say no? Kanang ganahan ikaw tan-aw niya,
Correct,
no?
correct.
Kanang Filipino gud ta, no? He's
Wala
always,
wala pa siya nakapuli niya sa, which is another question actually.
yes.
Si Manny Pacquiao is a generational star, di ba? Kinsa kay do you think that natao na ang mopuli ni Manny Pacquiao, Jing?
Hopefully. I can only hope.
Okay.
Diba kay to be honest ba, kasi may Filipino di ganahan mo tan-aw ni Manny whether he wins or loses because he always gives it his all.
Correct, yeah.
The way he fights, action-packed yung kay ba, kanang of drama, the way he yung combinations. Yeah, but my head says dapat di na kamuduwa because it only takes one punch, Jig. No? We have a saying in boxing, we don't play boxing. I think I mentioned this before. You play tennis, you play chess, you play basketball, but you do not play boxing. You box. Okay, why play any boxing? Delikado kay ni, you can die on the ring anytime.
Yeah, and the same is true with other sports too, like kaning
Fight sports basically.
kaning lumbaan na F1, right? I mean like and kaning motocross, right? Daghang kay mga risky,
mga dangerous sports.
very dangerous sports, right? That you're actually not just playing, you're actually risking your life. And an argument can be made in boxing, basketball is also a risky sport, diba? People have died in the middle of a game, right? I remember who's that player from the Boston Celtics decades ago? Nga murag namatay, heart attack man to siya, oh. And yeah, so
in terms of statistics, di kaya na siya
tagsara kay sanan niya. Yeah.
Sama tong kwan, tabaw na, daog na me.
106 Oklahoma City Thunder, 112 Indiana Pacers with 20 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter of NBA finals action. So foul, sige na nagpamaul ang OKC to buy them time, right? Mo man strategy sa mga players sa team nga kaning lubong sa game kung pipilan lang ka segundo ang nahibilin sa duwa, ilan lang i-foul with the hopes of missing a free throw. The problem with the OKC also, si Jalen Williams has already missed 2 free throws. Okay, he has split both his free throw attempts. So muragi kulbaan siguro ni si Jalen Williams kay nasipyat man siya.
Yeah, imagine na Jig, if Pacers go on to win these finals. Who would have thought, man?
Yeah.
Ang
ilahang grabe kay ka unlikely ang ilahang ascent, right? To the
yeah, if the stats hold nga ingon ka nga 80% mo who win game 3 mo daog, then wow. Yun lang tag wow.
Yeah. So ang highest pointer sa Indiana Pacers si Benedict Mathurin, right, with 27 points. Si Tyrese Halliburton only has 22 points. So I think what they're doing is strategically sound. I think si Tyrese Halliburton is a triple-double threat all the time, right? In fact, he has 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds. He doesn't have to score. He's not a volume shooter. Again, like you said, mura na siya pina Steve Nash nga shoot pass first mentality, diba? And that's a good thing too. That's another way of being a superstar, right? It's not just about the points.
Yeah, you're like a Swiss Army knife.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Pero when needed, puntos ka. When needed, score ka, rebound.
Depending on what the game needs. And kanang depensa lagi mo focus man na sa init, di ba? Asang init didto man ang depensa. So si Tyrese Halliburton sayon kayo nga mas there's a probability of him being more open because kana mangong basketball like most sports is a game of flows. Kana bang you're in your flow. Daog na final score 107 Oklahoma City Thunder, 116 the Indiana Pacers. So the Indiana Pacers defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder 1 116-107. So they
What is that
lead.
game for?
They lead the series 2-1.
2-1.
So
Game 4
ang
is about Saturday. Saturday ba, Jake?
I am not sure when game 4 is, but we'll find out. So statistically, 85% of all games, all NBA finals, 85% of those who win game
Win
3
game 3.
end up winning the series. Okay, so let's see if the statistic holds true, and let's see if the Indiana Pacers can win in game 4 of the NBA finals.
Yes.
Ang importante yun, di ba? Just like the way the Indiana Pacers stole one game in the home court of a hostile territory of the Oklahoma City Thunder, ang Thunder they just need to steal one game, right? In a hostile territory, because they actually have home court advantage. 4 games to 3 games, right? So if and when this comes down to a game 7, then it's going to be played at the home court of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, akong prediction na ba, Jake, Pacers in 7 ba ako?
Pacer in game 7, ha? Kuya Wagod.
Pacers in 7. Okay.
Wow.
I like game 7s magyud niya. Kani siya, I predict mo daog ang OKC sa game 4.
Yeah.
So matuol ni. Nindot kay ni kay it will be reduced to a best of 3.
Correct,
series.
correct. So it's becoming closer and closer, right? So kaning duha ka team, like I said, they've never seen an NBA championship, di ba? Murag just like what happened to the Cleveland Cavaliers, nga number 1 sila sa East. I think were they number 1 in the entire NBA
Yes,
ba?
number 1.
Oh,
number 1. No, number 1 OKC number 1.
Okay.
The whole...
Pero wala pala kanang nag-ingon mo sila god nga kana ko nung mga number 1 ko no, mga kadaghanan na mga batanon nga team nga they don't know how to pace themselves. Pero abot na sa biggest stage in basketball, moro na sila mga kulbaan na sila ba. So and ang kana magong pagkakulbaan nimo dili mo na mapraktisan nimo go, di ba? Di man ka maingon nga duwa sa game 7 dito para maanad ka, di ba? You can't do that. You've got to actually win some or lose some and get experience.
Correct. When the moment comes, and that's it. Huh? You cannot practice the moment, Jig, as you said. Mag-simulate na rin, Jig. Game 7 na, Jig, 5 seconds na lang. It's not like that.
Well, good. No. So, your team wins, attorney.
Yes.
Astang buhanga. So,
ato postaan na off air lang ta, ha?
Oh, off air lang, oh. Ako naman on the air, ang body part akong gi-offer nimo, kidney man ako, ah. Unsa man na kay kidney sa nimo, kidney to kidney, okay ra kog kuan, okay ra kog lain lang, basi kasing-kasing lang nimo siguro, unsa man imong utok ba?
Wala siguro, Jig, kanang exchange of ideas.
Kana. Sige. Ato nang buhaton.
Business ideas.
Sige. That's actually a good idea. Attorney, before I let you go, we were talking about boxing, right? And I know boxing is also your cup of tea. Unsa may mga umaabot ng mga boxing matches aside from the Pacquiao, or who's that other guy he's playing against? Barrios. Aside from that, what are the other important boxing matches that are up and coming?
If you remember, nagstorya ta adto in our first or second episode about si Paul bitaw, Jake Paul.
Yeah. Katong influencer.
Kaya na siya duwa, Jake. It's a big fight po ni kay he has become legit naman ni siyang fighter for me. And he's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Wow, okay. Wow.
June 28, ha?
I have kita man ko aning Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and he's actually tall and lanky, di ba? Medyo maayo po din siya, di ba?
He used to be very good and then pildi siya, bati yung conditioning. His record now, let me check, is 54 wins, 6 losses, and 34 knockouts. Yeah, he was last active fighting Uriah Hall. No?
What year was this?
Who has a record of 1-0.
Uy, 1-0. Kasi kinsa man ta nag-away niya.
Yeah, so mga you know nga di na kay siya inactive na mago sa jig ba, but Gani style ni Jake Paul. He fights big names, so he can generate income, and ang hype sa iyaha ba.
Ang akong pa,
Like
ang
you
akong
know,
ang pang, can I ask you a follow-up question?
yeah.
Kanibang mga social media influencers ba nga mo go into sports just like Jake Paul ba? Ang akong
Oh,
pangutana ni, is this good for boxing? Is this good for the sport? Kay kung mura feeling nako murag ma-delegitimize ang sport, bitaw murag dili na nun serious ba? Ang nga inani, or is this is being kanang not serious part of it? Because kibaw man ta nga kanang di ba namtay WWE kanang wrestling, di ba? Kibaw man kita nga
yeah.
na binuang na
Yeah.
poros, but still people watch it, right? And to a certain extent kanang UFC, although kanang wala ginay kaning drama-drama na niya, pero magkuan mas sila nam po sila yung mga stars diya, si Joe Rogan nga ilahang the biggest podcaster in the world, came from being an announcer of UFC, right? So nani sila yung mga kaning mga gimmick ba nga involves a social media influencer. Unsay tanan nimo ani? Is this productive or counterproductive to boxing?
For me, I'm all for it, Jake. Kay as long as it packs in more fans. Sometimes magod you need a shot of adrenaline bitaw.
Mm.
Yeah, boxing is an old school sport. Yeah, na lupigan na siya sa mixed MMA. So nindot ni siya ning sud ni siya somebody like Paul. Kanya pag una man god, he was deemed like a clown. He was fighting katong former NBA player si Nate Robinson.
Mm.
He was fighting another influencer but now dumuduwa naman gid siya mga boxers gyud. So now kani this is his biggest kanang opponent so far. Dako kaning tao si Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's like 5'11" or 6 feet tall. But balag di siya active na, pero he was once a top contender. So this is good for the sport, Jig, because it brings in more fans.
So dili ka makaingon nga ang ilahang fight is kaning mura og preordained, mura gi kuan ba kaning gidramatize sila ba, dili ni pareha sa WWE nga kaning klaro jud kay nga gidramatize sila ang ilang away.
No.
If you watch, have you ever seen the games of the matches of kaning Jake Paul? Have you seen it? And then, is it a legitimate match? Is it officiated correctly and so on and so forth? Are they following the rules of boxing?
Yes, kaya remember yung last fight was against Mike Tyson. Remember? That was earlier this year.
Yeah.
And that was a legit fight. Mike Tyson, another example na of kanang mubalik kag fight niya, dugay na kay kang retired ba. No, he did not have it anymore. Hindi na siya ka-pull the trigger. He just moved around the ring, like an old guy. But it was a legit fight, sanctioned, ang referee. It was a good fight.
One of the reasons why ang boxing medyo murag it's taking a hit ba in favor of UFC ba is ang UFC man gud kakita jud kag dugo, bloody jud kay tanan ba, unya kaning kusog kay tanan nga duwa ba niya. So mahuman na dayon in 3 rounds, di ba niya kung mapildi sa dayon ka. And also boxing is actually more dangerous than UFC, because boxing man gud namo gyud gloves good, so ang imuhang brain damage, ang imuhang injury dili kayo mura bag hinay-hinay kag kaning tad-tad bitaw, dili siya pareha sa kaning sa UFC maundang din nimo. So kung boxing murag dili kay makadugo usahay di mura ragwa, pero ang imuha dayong utok na dislodge na di ay or whatever ba. So many boxers have died, right? Or kaning have become kaning like Muhammad Ali and other boxers, murag na vegetable na sila ba. So in many ways, murag mas dangerous guni ang boxing compared to UFC. Imong tanaw ba, just looking ahead ba, of course boxing is trying to revive itself by aligning themselves with social media influencers, right? Like Jake Paul. Akong pangutana nimo siguro ani, is there a way that boxing should adjust and change with a different times now, or do you think that boxing as we know it will survive UFC and other sports and still will continue to be relevant in its present form?
Yeah, for a long time, people have been saying that pro boxing is dying, but it's still here, Jig. It will survive the test of time, but of course, it needs reforms. Like, anay mong giingon, anong daghan mamatay sa boxing as opposed to MMA? Because you know why, ang boxing taas kitag, ang championship rounds na to, 12, and before it was 15. Panahon nila ni Leonard. Now it's been reduced to 12. Ang UFC championship fight nimo is 5 rounds. And then, number 2, the focus on boxing is punching the head.
Headhunters,
or body, but usually head magina ang maigo niya. That's where the trauma, ang brain trauma comes in. The repeated trauma to the brain. Ay, di man yung mamatay, but inikatiguang nila, mabaldado, or like slurred speech. Unlike ang MMA, daghang injuries on ligaments. Like, balian ka. Because that's the nature of the beast. Ang gapo mo sa MMA is, daghan kag many ways to defeat your opponent. You can tap him, you can knock him out, you can kick him. So daghan og patay sa boxing, but daghang bali sa MMA. But mas lethal man gid ang boxing, Jig. To your point, na kay glove. So ibalik-balik og sumbag imo ang head. So that's why nga mas terms of statistics, daghan og fatal incidents ang boxing as opposed to MMA.
So you feel like boxing will still be relevant moving forward, it just needs maybe a few more superstars, just like Manny Pacquiao, and back in the day there were like the Mike Tysons, the Sugar Ray Leonards of the Muhammad Alis of their time. We just need, just like in any sport, right? We just need a shining star, and I think SGA and Tyrese Halliburton have elevated themselves in basketball as the stars of their own team, and I think both of these players, especially SGA, who's the MVP, is a generational superstar, and I think that's what every sport needs, right? A shining star.
That's a good parting shot, Jig. Mapuno sa good, Jig. Yes, superstar-driven sport maguna ang boxing, and then ang term na kuana is you have to have 2 or 3 flagship fighters, no? Like Tyson or Oscar De La Hoya in his prime. And sa time nila ni Manny, there was Floyd Mayweather. Now it's Canelo Alvarez, and then Inoue, kanang Japanese fighter, and then Crawford. So as long as you have big name fighters, mabuhi gyud ang sport, but it just needs more reforms to make it to adapt to make it more safe, and then the modern times karon nga maybe some people are di kay kanahan og violence. Some people now are very woke. No? Oh, katora ba nga atong ingon nimo gi-suspend ra ba to imong account? Yeah.
No lagi.
That was a very honest assessment.
Maybe Facebook already knew the future, and what I said was wrong, and maybe
you should. You wanna contest, Jig? You should contest that.
I actually did. I actually contested it.
And then they
wala pa may tubag. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
I will be your legal counsel, Jig.
Sige, let's do that. Please do. I'm trying to text my friend Mark. Di man siya motubag pa na ako. Busy pa siguro si Mark siguro, di ba? MMA po ni si Mark Zuckerberg.
Ato ring civil case number 6969. Jiggy Juice Serna versus
Mark Zuckerberg. Si Mark latong para nay tao ay lang ng kaning idea nga Meta kay di man ta kakita na si Mark Zuckerberg lang atong awayon.
Sige nga. You don't have to pay me, magtunga lang ko sa damages award, ha?
Sige. Mga ilang tag $1 billion lang kay hundreds of billions man ang kwarta ni Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. Jingo Quijano, daghang salamat sa imong pag-appeal sa atong programa karon, of course, because we can't have Double J without you, Jingo Quijano. Ang imong article nga umaabot na kay ginahan i-plug kano sa man mo gawas unya imong
my article comes out, Jake, on Sunday. I'm gonna write about the finals that we are talking about.
Wow. And it'll be after game 4 na.
Yes, after game 4.
Wow.
Yes.
So let's see what happens, okay? So what's your
Okay.
prediction for game 4, Attorney Jingo Quijano, sir?
Game 4, your team will win.
Okay. OKC will win.
By 10 points.
Oh, okay. Wow. Specific you guys na. So by double
Yes.
digits.
Yes.
So do you feel like
But,
because like we always say, this is a game of adjustments, and the OKC were able to adjust after losing in game 1, and now the Indiana Pacers have adjusted to the OKC Thunder, and after being swept, after losing by double digits, nakapildi na po sila sa Thunder. Can you see Rick Carlisle manggiitan gyud nga coach beza?
Yeah.
Gini sa beza?
Yes. And it's a must win now for your OKC. Remember, imagine nagma 3-1 mo.
Correct.
So, and then heavy is the head that wears the MVP crown.
Correct.
Si SGA, ha?
Correct.
He has to step up. It is going to be one of those legendary MVP games in game 4.
Yeah, 24 points na gud siya karon, attorney. 24 points. He's not even the highest score. Si Jalen Williams has 26. So
expect your SGA to play like a real MVP on game 4.
Mo lagi, pero problema sa na, if you expect too much, grabbing pressure, maybe that will take its toll on them. But we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, what's that again, sir?
Heavy is the head that wears the MVP crown.
Heavy is the head that wears the MVP crown. Ladies and gentlemen, Double J is signing off. Daghang salamat, Jingo Quijano, sa imuhang panahon, and let's see each other once again in the next coming days. Daghang salamat. Ladies and gentlemen, Jingo Quijano.